Hi, it's Lisa Cavender with Empower Yourself. And today I am so excited. I have Miriam Laundry here with me. Miriam's a friend and somebody that I got to know through the Jack Canfield Train the Trainer community and through Jack Canfield. Miriam is a sought after speaker at schools nationwide. She is the author of 5 children's books and co-authored The Big Bad Bully with Jack Canfield in 2019. She inspired to help children believe that they can. And she organized an international effort in 2014 that secured her a Guinness World Record, if you can believe that. And she hasn't stopped since. More than 100,000 children and adults participated in this record, with the purpose of promoting positive mental health. And her books have also received numerous awards, and including the Mom's Choice Award and the Reader's Favorite International Award. And Miriam is coming to us from beautiful Niagara, Canada, not far down the road from where I'm originally from in Toronto. And she lives there with her husband and her 4 children. And Miriam is such a wonderful person. She seeks to continue to inspire people to believe in themselves. And she now shares her expertise by mentoring and coaching and aspiring children's book authors. And she helps them fulfill their dream of becoming a children's book author. So welcome, Miriam.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. I'm just so excited about this because, as you know, I am so passionate about empowerment, whether it's for children or for adults. And I love what you're doing. It's inspiring people to write a children's book because, you know, having been involved and an active volunteer in my children's primary schools for over 10 years and helping in the library as a librarian with other volunteers. And I really understand the power of getting children excited about reading, getting their creativity going, and of course then using books as a vehicle to empower them and getting them thinking about their self-concept and the tools inside of them to help them with their mental health and with their empowerment and so on, and their confidence. So I really applaud you for all the amazing work you're doing. So,
thank you, Lisa.
You know, tell me, like, how did you get involved with Jack, and how did you get Jack to be a co-author with you? I mean, I know a little bit, but tell the audience here how all that got going.
Well, yes, it's been quite a journey, and it really started for me at Jack Canfield seminar. So I'll take you back to 2012. This is the year, you know, we all have that pivotal year where things change. And for me, it was 2012. I had just given birth to my 4th child. And the following day, we had a tragedy in the family. We lost our 17-year-old niece to suicide. So I was, as you can imagine, I was not in a good place. I was spiraling into my own little hole, and, you know, the baby blues and the grieving. I wasn't in a good place. So it was really good that my husband noticed this, and he suggested I go to Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success seminar in Arizona. We had previously been there the previous year, so we knew about it, and I needed a change. So I left my 8-week-old baby and I just went. And that week changed everything for me. I mean, I was in a room full of positive people working on themselves. Jack was teaching the success principles. There was so much goodness there. But it was on the flight home where I really started thinking about what he was teaching. And I thought, okay, I'm going home. What can I tell my kids when I get home? If I was to give them one piece of information, what would that be? Because during that week, I kept thinking, this is great and it's helping me. But if I would have learned this when I was younger, then, you know, my life would have been different. Maybe if my niece would have learned about this, her life would have been different. So I decided on the plane that the one thing I would teach them was to let go of the word can't and to start believing that they can do things.
Love
So that, yes. And he teaches that, right? So for me, it was, how do I teach my kids that? And I thought, instead of getting home and just dumping this information on them, I'm going to write a book and entertain them and then teach them through the book. So that's how things started. I self-published my first 3 books, and I continued taking courses with Jack. When I wrote The Big Bad Bully, I knew that I wanted something different with that book. So I approached Jack about co-authoring it with me. And he loved the story right away. He said yes. It took us years to get it published. We went the traditional publishing route for that. It took us years. But in 2019, we published our first children's book together.
Well, congratulations. And, for those who don't know Jack and his work, I'm a certified Canfield trainer. I've been in Jack's orbit for quite a long time now. And one of the stories he often tells his students is that, for Chicken Soup, he went through, I think it was 144 publishers before he got a yes. So
yes,
in terms of tenacity, you picked the right guy in order to find the right publisher and really stick with it until it crossed the finish line. So fantastic. One of the things that, for those who haven't read Big Bad Bully, I highly encourage you to get that and, read it with your kids. Donate a copy to your children's school library. I mean, I know we're online now and it's different, but eventually we'll get back to in-person learning, and it would be a great resource for primary school libraries. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that really struck me, Miriam, and I'm wondering if this happened for you when you were getting out on the book tour and getting the book more widely known and read, was how well it resonated with adults, because it's a story of, I don't want to give it all away.
Oh, please do.
It's this message of we have bullies sometimes that happen outside of our sphere of influence, but sometimes the worst bully is the one that's inside of us, right? Our inner critic. And for adults sometimes that haven't done inner work or are new to inner work, that message really, really resonated with them. And what I loved was some of the exercises in the back that people could do, whether it's for children or for adults. It's a really wonderful family book. Yes. And I think, for me, the power of a children's book is so much more than just for children. Would you agree with that? And could you speak a little more to sort of the power for adults of either going through the process of writing this book or kind of taking some of the learnings out of a children's book and applying it to their own?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, unfortunately, our things like that, like self-bullying, not believing in ourselves, it doesn't end when we're children. It continues on into adulthood. So when I write every book, there's an underlying message there for the adults. So even in the first book, I Can Believe in Myself, it's all about letting go of the word can't. But through the story, I show that the teacher is also saying, I can't. Her I can't is, I can't make it through the morning without coffee. So what I know is that the books that I'm writing, most children are going to be sitting down with a parent or a teacher reading it to them. So there has to be a little bit of a message for the parents also. And it's something that we all go through. So going back to The Big Bad Bully, it is a bully story with a twist. And I'm okay if we say the ending, because it's not about the outer bully. And that's what we hear about all the time. I'll just share that how I was inspired to write The Big Bad Bully was over a conversation I was having with my daughter. She was in the 6th grade at the time, and she was standing in front of a full-length mirror, and she was saying things like, "Mommy, why is my hair so frizzy? Why are my legs so short? Why do I have so many pimples?" And she was just like going on. And everything I was saying was
so self-critical in that
moment.
So
critical. And luckily I was there with her. And, she didn't stop until I finally went up to her and I said, "Stop it. You're bullying yourself." and she just stopped. And I could see that she understood what I was talking about. Yeah, that aha moment, because they've been taught in schools how bad bullying is. We know how bad bullying is. The last thing she wanted to do was to bully herself. So it just opened up a whole conversation on how we're critical to ourselves, how sometimes I can have those thoughts, but we have to work through them. We did actually, right away, I taught her the exercise that Jack teaches us, the mirror exercise, how to get in front of the mirror every night before you go to bed.
And start powerful, that exercise.
Yes. So we want to reframe our thoughts to, instead of saying, why do I have so many pimples? Looking for the good in every day. So that's the mirror exercise. But definitely the message is for both children and adults, because we are still having to reprogram our minds and still having to stop and think about the positive things that happened that day. Right? It's ongoing, because life is ongoing. So we have to just kind of keep growing with that.
I know. And so I'm so excited about all of this work, because in some of the coaching that I'm doing, of course, it's near to the beginning of the year. We're almost at the end of January. I can't believe it. And so, of course, it's really topical, this idea of goals and goal setting and so on. And I know you have a free training coming up with Jack, and I want to get to that in a little bit. It's coming up on February 4th, like a whole hour of free training with you and Jack, and on this topic of what would it take to write a children's book, and what's the process, and how do you go about it, and who's this for, and everything. And later, I would definitely want to dive into that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to let people know that that's coming up, and make sure they mark their calendars. In that whole webinar, and then a mini series that's going to follow after that, tell people a little bit about, what is the process, and what can people hope to learn and take away after that webinar and all your free training.
Yes, thank you. I'll share, before I say that, I'll tell you why I did this. So a couple of years ago, I realized that my goal has always been to impact children, right? That's why I wrote the first book. I wanted to impact my children, other children. And that's why I went for a Guinness World Record, to impact 100,000 children. And that's always been my goal. How can we get to more children? And I realized that I'm limited in how far I can go with my own books, because I publish a book every 2 years. But if I was to help other authors publish their own books, then, it's the ripple effect, how it'll keep going. So that's been my focus the last 2 years. Of course, I keep writing, but now I also help aspiring authors finish their manuscripts, write their manuscripts, finish them, learn about the publishing industry, and then also learn how to market their books. Together, we can reach more children. So I asked Jack Canfield to get on a webinar with me and to help me teach people some of the fundamentals of getting your book published and becoming a best-selling author. So the free series, mini-series that I'm offering is called Becoming a Best-Selling Children's Book Author. So we'll take you through the many steps that are involved in that. And my desire at the end of that is that people believe that they can do it, because I know I did it, they can do it too. So we'll be talking about, first of all, why children's books are so important now more than ever. If COVID has taught us anything, is that we need to teach children even more. Right now, it's unprecedented times. They need to learn about resilience. They need to learn that they can. They've been told can't this whole past year. You can't. A lot of kids go to school, depending on where you live. You can't see your grandparents. You can't see your friends. You can't continue the sport. So they need good books. And whether they're getting them at the library or it's an ebook that they're reading at home, they really need to have empowering books. So that's why we teamed up to offer this free mini series. We'll be teaching about that. We'll be teaching the difference between self-publishing and traditional publishing. A lot of people don't understand that what the difference is, and they can make a decision of how they want to proceed with that. And then we'll be giving marketing tips. Jack is amazing at selling books. We know from the hundreds of Chicken Soup for the Soul books that are out and the millions and millions of books that sold. So I want to ask him about that. I have my own marketing tips, but he'll have extras to share with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, what I love about this process is really, as you're saying, like we're in unprecedented times right now. We're seeing so many detrimental effects, mental health wise and everything, both for adults and for kids and teens about the pandemic. And of course, we know through being in Jack's orbit that it's not really about the events that happen, is it, Miriam? It's about our response to the events. So I'm often teaching the E+R=O equation, which is the events plus our response to the events determines the outcome. And so for people out there that are feeling like they're seeing their kids detrimentally affected mentally, emotionally through this pandemic and feeling like they're lost, they're not sure how to respond to that. And these parents have a message inside of them that they would like to get out to children, not just their own, but others. Then what a great way to focus on something that people can control, which is the only thing that we can do is focus on what we can control. And one thing is to just get your ideas and your thoughts and your inspiration down on paper. And that is something that, is absolutely within our control to do. And then working with a professional like you to help you navigate that process. So if it's your first or second or third book and you're new at this, I know that you and your team will hold people's hands all the way through the process. And what an amazing thing to be able to, at the end of that process, to be able to say, I'm a published author, right? It's such an amazing accomplishment. And so, who do you find is sort of attracted to this process of writing a children's book? Because, some people say, oh, they'd like to write a more personal growth and development book aimed at adults. Who would be the ideal person, do you think, that would gravitate to writing a children's book?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is people that want to make a difference in children's lives. And that is a lot of people. When it really comes down to it, we all have those memories of reading our own books when we were younger. Right. And it's that feeling that we got that it takes you to another place, but it also helps you. And you remember books like The Little Engine That Could, or, a lot of Robert Munch books. You remember those books. So I would say it's anybody that wants to make a difference in children's lives, anybody that's in the world of self-development that want to pass that on to children, right? Why don't we teach them when they're younger? Why don't we? Where would our lives be if we would have learned this when we were younger? Those people are very interested. Teachers are always interested, creatives. And, even if people are writing their own adult book or if they've written an adult book, this is a continuation of that. It's a little bit different, but it's also the same, right? And I'll just say that that's how it may start, that we want to make a difference in children's lives, but we don't realize the transformation that'll happen in our own lives, right? You grow so much in the process. I mean, it's all the learning, it's the believing in yourself, and then publishing your book, and then the speaking engagements that come from that. And perhaps it's going to a school, perhaps I was invited to do a TEDx talk, just out of the blue because of the children's book. If you are an entrepreneur, a book, you've heard this many times, a book becomes your business card. So the possibilities are endless with what you can do with that. But it always starts with that, wanting to make a difference in children's lives.
Yeah, and so important. So tell us a little bit about, I know you have an upcoming book. You have a book coming out soon.
Yes.
You have another one. Show us some of the other books that you have too. I want people to see these because it's like, the idea of, I could write a children's book, but then, the process of going through your program, and it seems maybe a little bit like, oh, I can't even imagine what that would look like. And then, hold up some of your books, because then people can see, like, this is what it turns out to be, right?
That's the very first book I self-published.
I love it.
I Can Believe in Myself. I Can Make a Difference followed. It became a series. And then I Can Be Me was the third one.
Right.
And then I went traditional publishing, and this is The Big Bad Bully with Jack Canfield.
Right.
And then I'm so excited. This is not even the real book yet. This is the the uncorrected reader's copy.
Yeah.
Yes, I got this in the mail this week. So
goodness.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It'll be released February 23rd. So I'll share that. The first book was I Can Believe in Myself.
Right.
And I self-published. And now the publishing company picked up my first book, and it's been completely redone, new illustrations. We've edited some more. And then Jack has also offered exercises at the back of the book so that the conversation continues with a parent or with a teacher, right? We want to teach kids right from when they're younger, what can they do to let go of the word can't? What can they do to start writing down their affirmations, right? It's all of that, teaching them younger.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so excited for you and for all the children that are going to be able to benefit from your amazing work and your amazing programs. Tell us a little bit. I know in your when I read out your bio and talked in the introduction a little bit about how you do reading programs with schools. Tell us a little bit about how that works, and if you or any of your team have availability to do that, how people can reach out and do that with you.
Yes. Yeah. So the books are available either on my website or on Amazon. But the other thing that I do as a business is I go into schools and I do workshops for children. So it starts off with me contacting my local schools, and then the word got out, and then I just started traveling. I did a lot in Toronto. I did a tour in Alberta, in Canada, in a different province. So the word gets out that this author is doing workshops for children. So I go in, I read my story, but then I also share about the message. I share a little bit about what it's like to be an author, what it's like to write, the different drafts, the different edits, about the illustrations. And then I always end with the empowering message and a little exercise to do with the children. So now that, everything is online, authors are also doing virtual online visits where you come in virtually just like this, and you read the story, you show your presentation, and then the kids come on at the end and ask their questions. And it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Yeah. So anybody out there that is interested in that, I'll leave a link below. DM me, get in touch with me. You can email me at lisa@lisacavender.com, and I'll make sure you get an introduction to Miriam, and we'll figure out how she may be able to help your children's schools and so on. So Miriam, I know you're getting close to this webinar. It's February 4th. It's coming up very soon. I'll be excited to attend on February 4th with you and Jack. And so I'll make sure as well to leave a link below where people can register for that free training. Tell us a little bit about when it is. I know it's a 1-hour training, and then there'll be some follow-up free training after the webinar for people that are interested or even investigating what it might be like to become a children's book author. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the free mini series is a webinar plus 4 videos that you'll get in your email. The kickoff starts on the Thursday, February 4th. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And the kickoff is with Jack Canfield. I asked him to attend, so he will co-host the webinar with me. And this is good for anybody that wants to make a difference in children's lives, for somebody that maybe has an idea of a children's book. It's also good for somebody that has a manuscript already written, but it's sitting in a drawer collecting dust somewhere, which happens a lot, right? So, come learn from us. You may have some questions. We have Q&A at the time where you can ask your questions, but then we're also continuing to teach through email. So there will be 4 videos that follow that. There's only so much we can teach in 60 minutes. So the videos will come to your inbox, and then I'm taking one subject and teaching all about that. Yeah. So I invite anybody that's interested. Thank you for sharing that link to come. We have a lot of people registered, and there is a limited number of people that Zoom can allow. We're purchasing the bigger package, so we have a lot of people. But if you're thinking about it, just sign up for it right away. If you cannot attend during that time, it's okay. You'll get a replay later on that evening.
I was just about to ask you that. So yeah, fantastic. Because there are people now with this virtual world we're in, people from all around the world log in and attend these free trainings and do programs with people like us all over the world. And, depending on their time zone, it's not always available for them at that particular time. So I'm so glad you have a replay. Miriam, is there any sort of closing statement, anything you'd love to just inspire the audience with today in terms of making a difference, setting some goals for yourself and for those of us that really have a soft spot for impacting children, especially now during this pandemic when children are needing some guidance and resilience and strength. More than ever.
Yeah, I'll just say that, this is what comes to mind. And it's because we're living in it right now. I know that restrictions are different wherever you live in the country, in another country. But right now in Canada, we are in our second lockdown. Everything is closed. School is completely online. And what I have found for me this past year is that all of a sudden, everything is shut down, but I have an abundance of time that I did not have before, and schools can be shut down, restaurants can be shut down, hair salons can be shut down, but our dreams are not shut down. Like, our dreams are not canceled. So I have been working hard this past year at fulfilling that dream and being able to teach more people how to publish their books so that we can reach more children. So I want to encourage you, if that is your dream to write a children's book, this is the perfect time. This is when your books are needed more than ever. If you have a dream of doing something else, this is the time to do it. This is the time. Everything else can be canceled, but your dreams are not. So I want to encourage you.
That.
Yeah, keep going for that.
Yeah. And there's so many people out there too, that maybe are on that cusp of, well, could I even do that? Like, is that even possible for me? I would just encourage people to just open up that field of possibility enough to just be curious. Curiosity allows your mind and your heart to expand. And if you invest an hour in a free training with Miriam and Jack and it's not for you, then great, but you'll never know if this really resonates with your heart and soul as something to do unless you open up to the possibility of it. And, Miriam and Jack are the real deal. Miriam, I've gotten to know a little bit over the last year or so, and just a truly authentic and heart-centered person I find you to be, Miriam. And
thank you.
I wouldn't introduce my audience to anyone. So I fully trust in you and Jack to deliver on this amazing training. And thank you so much for being here today. I wish you all the best with your upcoming book relaunch and with your amazing program and the webinar, and I'll see you on the 4th.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thanks for having me here.
Oh my
Very
goodness.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.